go with what is SAP ERP, what is ERP, SAP and its evolution, R3's architecture, SAP R3 functionality, various two-dimensional products, mysap.com and the internet, various tools which we use it for configuring R3 system. Sorry to say, but I want you guys to be on mute. Okay, so what you have to do is, you can be on mute. If I say mute all, are you still able to hear me? Hello? Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yes, it's
Yes.
Yeah, I want you guys to be on mute yourself so that the background noises will not disturb the others. In case if you want to, if you want to speak, or if you have a question, unmute yourself and then ask the question, so that now the other people will not get disturbed.
Yeah. Okay, sir.
All right, and then we will discuss about what are the reasons for SAP's success, advantages of using SAP, various components that we use in SAP and SAP scope, so on and so forth. Okay, so ERP, as we all know, stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. So when we are talking about Enterprise Resource Planning, each and every enterprise, whether it is in service industry or it's a manufacturing industry or if it's a banking, whatever industry it could be, you will have various resources. And the resources of any industry is, I would say, so this is my, I would say, board for me. Okay, so resources of any industry is one, material. Okay, so machines, material, money, right? And what is the last one? Management. Okay, so these are called 5 M's. So these are the tools for any industry, I would say resources for any industry. So how effectively or how best you use all these resources in order to maximize your productivity and hence the profitability is what matters to the company or to any organization. So to minimize the cost or to minimize the effort and to maximize the productivity, you will be using a software tool that what we call it as ERP. So ERP, by definition, you can say this way, it's ERP software facilitates the flow of information among all the processes of an organization's supply chain from procure to pay, including accounting, human resources, right? So your ERP software should facilitate the flow of information across all the processes of an organization. Whether, for example, a new employee joined in the organization, his employee information or the personal details will be added in HR system. It could be PeopleSoft, it could be something else. The data that is maintained in the HR system needs to get reflected in accounts payable module for the month-end salary payment to the employee. So therefore, the data which is maintained in the HR system, it could be HR module if we are talking about SAP as tool, or you might use a different tool. Okay, you might use a different tool. Even from that tool, the HR data, the people's data, or the personal data of a new employee or an existing employee needs to be available for the AP module, accounts payable module or accounts team, for the salary to be paid by end of every month. That's one example. The other way is you might have a system for managing the vendors, a separate system for managing the vendors where all your vendor master data might have been created or maintained, right? So vendor data is there in one system, but you will be using a different tool or a different system for purchasing. So when you raise a purchase order and when it is submitted to the potential supplier, once it delivers the material, right, you will be doing goods receipt and an invoice needs to be paid. So therefore, at the time of payment, the data that needs to be looked at is vendor's bank account. Where is it maintained? It's maintained in the vendor management tool, a third-party system. So therefore, that vendor master data that is maintained in the third-party system needs to be available for your SAP system for the accounts payable team to pay to the vendor with reference to the invoice posted with reference to a PO. So this flow of information, what we are talking about, is whether it is across the departments or across the systems, the flow of information should be very, very smooth, and it should flow without losing any piece of information. And that's where your ERP facilitates all this possibility. So ERP software eliminates the common problem of multiple incompatible software systems and databases in use in the departments or functional areas of many corporations. Like I said, just an example, if you have multiple systems, there is bound to be an integration issues. Like I said, vendor management system, a third-party system, accounts payable system is your SAP system. In case if the data is not smooth, okay, or for whatever reasons, if the data is not getting transmitted properly to SAP or from SAP to that vendor management tool, you will have problems. So compatibility issues. If you use one system, an ERP system, which can facilitate all these functionalities, you will not lose any data. Therefore, the compatibility issues can be avoided. For example, if I have to say, sometime back, JD Edwards was acquired by PeopleSoft. PeopleSoft in turn was acquired by Oracle. But till today, PeopleSoft applications are not running on Oracle platform. That's because of the compatibility issues. So Oracle, though PeopleSoft is Oracle's product right now, Oracle is still having problems managing PeopleSoft applications on Oracle platform. So that's the reason they are still selling PeopleSoft as a separate application. That's the compatibility problems that I was referring to. Whereas with SAP, you don't have such problems. Everything is SAP's module. Everything was built on top of SAP R3 architecture, so you won't have any problems. So therefore, with one integrated comprehensive system, which could be distributed internationally with one database whose processes run more smoothly with up-to-date information availability throughout the corporation. That means if you use one system, avoid using one system for what you call vendor management, another system for accounts payable, one more system for purchasing. Instead of using those many systems, if you use only one system, which should be comprehensively integrated across all modules and which can be distributed across geographies, which should contain only one database. Therefore, everybody can see the same set of information throughout the organization. Whether you could be CEO or a regional manager or an individual user who created a purchasing document or an invoice document, everybody will see the same set of a same piece of information if the database is only single database. Now, based on the scope of various applications which were available in the ERP market, the ERP solutions have been segregated broadly into two areas. One is high-end ERP solutions. Second one is mid-range ERP solutions. In the high-end ERP solutions, I've added SAP, Oracle, and PeopleSoft. The one which is maintained in the brackets, parenthesis, is called programming language. ABAP/4 stands for Advanced Business Application Programming Language, 4th generation. Similarly, for Oracle, it has got its own language, what we call the structured query language. PeopleSoft has got its own language. Same is the case with mid-range applications like JD Advanced, Bond, Ramco, so on and so forth. Right? So if you look at it, SAP has got various applications in all the modules. I would say all the functional areas. Oracle is very strong in finance, but poor in manufacturing. Same as PeopleSoft is very good at HR, and the rest of the applications, it doesn't have the strong base. JD Edwards is a good manufacturing tool. Similarly, Barn is having good manufacturing capabilities and bit of financial capabilities, but they don't have applications in all the areas. I guess rest of the folks have joined. So Sundarrao Garu and Lakshmi, welcome to the group. Can you hear me? Lakshmi and Sundarrao. Okay, so I guess still they have some issues. Let them get clarified. All right. Now, SAP as ERP. So where does SAP fits in the ERP system? We will have another slide. If you could look at it, if this is my ERP wheel, you could see for each of the folk, I've got different departments. Let's say you take any industry or any organization, you will have all these departments like inventory department, production department, accounting, human resource, delivery, that is what you call distribution, business intelligence, reporting, sales, engineering, so on and so forth. So the flow of information across all these departments should be smooth. Only then the business will run smooth. Otherwise, if you don't have proper communication between your purchasing department and inventory department, or your sales department and delivery department, you will have lots of problems. You don't know what sales department has promised to its customers. So therefore, delivery department cannot or will not be able to deliver the goods to the respective customers. Similarly, if you don't have proper information about purchasing to the inventory management, or if you don't have information about the material availability in the stores, then the purchasing department will not be able to procure the materials. So here the inference is, though these departments, they work independently, but they are interconnected. So you have to have one tool which should be able to facilitate this interconnectivity across the departments. Sometimes I call this as department, sometimes I call it as a functional area, sometimes I call it as a process area, or sometimes it is module, if I have to say from SAP perspective, right? So you need to have an ERP tool which will facilitate the flow of information across all these departments, though they work independently, right? So let's try to understand what is SAP. As you know, SAP is a product of SAP AG company. AG stands for limited in German language. So it was founded by 5 German engineers who used to work in IBM in the 1970s, I mean to say in 71. So they established this company in 1971 in a place called Mannheim. And then their initial vision while developing or establishing this company was to develop a standard application software for real-time business processing. What do you mean by real-time business processing? Real-time business processing is nothing but your system should be capable enough to process the data that's created just a minute ago, just a second ago. That is what we call it as real-time business processing. It's not that your system should be capable of processing historical data. No. Apart from processing historical data, whatever data that you have maintained or someone else has maintained just a few seconds ago, that needs to be available for processing. Okay, when I say processing, you might be doing some action on that particular data. So that's their vision when they started this company. SAP was market leader in industrial enterprise application area. Its market share is about 30% in ERP. SAP has got presence in more than 50 countries. That means SAP has got its own offices in more than 50 countries. SAP's employee strength is 50 plus. Who is joined? Is this Sundara or Lakshmi? Hello?
Hello?
Sundara Garani?
Hello? అవునండి సార్ జస్ట్ ఇప్పుడు ఓపెన్ అయింది.
All right, not a problem. At last you are there. All right. So we have just started the SAP demo session, which I've already gone through, Andy. So, and then SAP has got more than 1 lakh customers, more than 100,000 customers across 120 countries with more than 10 million users. As you might be knowing, SAP license fee is user-based. Based on number of users that you wanted to have, based on that only SAP charges the customers. So that's the reason I did specify the user strength. SAP's market share in India is about 60%, 600 new installations per month across the world. That's the SAP's strength. So SAP strength, why everybody goes for SAP? Why not the other ERP software tools? The basic reason why everybody goes for SAP is SAP's strength lies in its high degree of integration, mainly for large global corporations. Okay, the reason, like I said, the integration between various modules, or the integration between one company located in UK, another company located in US, maybe some other company located in India. So the cross-company integration, or the cross-module integration, or the cross-processes integration is very, very tight and secure. That's the reason for SAP's success. Significant presence in global Fortune 500 companies means all the Fortune 500 companies, a majority of them are running their business on SAP systems. Okay, so let's try to understand what is SAP and its evolution. Okay, I should have given you what is SAP definition, or the full form of SAP. SAP stands for Systems, Applications and Products in Data Processing. That's the full form of SAP. Okay, so in the next half an hour, we will try to understand what are those systems, what applications SAP uses, and what are the products that are available from SAP. So like I said, when they, after establishing the company in 1971, in 1972, they have developed a software application. They name it as SAP R1. Stands for R1 stands for real-time single-tier architecture. In those 70s, in 70s and 80s, yeah, I think in 70s only, we don't have this much of technology. We don't have this, what we call it as client-server technology available. So those days, everything, if some company's business is running on computer, it means there used to be only one computer, or each and every computer that the company uses, they will have all the applications, all the databases, etc. It means the current client-server technology was not there. So therefore, they named it as SAP R1. It was implemented, SAP R1 was implemented in a tractor manufacturing company, but that was a failure. So SAP's first attempt was failure. So based on the lesson that they have learned in that failed attempt, they have modified their application, and they have added few more features, and they have released next version in 1975. They named it as SAP R2. Okay, so during that point of time, they had financial applications, sales and distribution, and of course inventory management related applications. In 1975, this R2, SAP R2 was implemented for an American chemical manufacturing company called ICI Chemicals. So the first successful SAP implementation is for ICI Chemicals. That was in 1975. So since 1975, SAP is keep on, adding new features to the existing applications, or they are either modifying or enhancing the existing applications. As you can see here, these are the various releases which SAP has done since 92. Why I kept 92? That's because of R3 version, which we have been currently using. Right? So between 1975 and 1993, SAP has added few more applications. SAP has modified some of its applications, and then keep on releasing like that. So in between 1975 to 1993, as you might be knowing, those late 70s and 80s, or even 90s also, those were the days where there is a boom for IBM mainframes. So mainframes means what? They are nothing but, mainframes is a software on which the business used to run. So SAP, what they did was during these years, okay, SAP has developed the SAP applications to run parallelly along with mainframe applications on mainframe computers. And then this was happened, this has been continued up to 1993. Then in 1993, SAP has modified the architecture of its applications, and then they come up with a new architecture called SAP R3, real-time three-tier architecture. So this is further, I mean, because of the further enhancements happened in the client-server technology. So since 1993 until today, as you can see here, these are the releases. 1992 SAP R3 version 1, 1993 same year release 2, release 3, like that SAP keep on introduced its versions into the market. The most recent version available right now is SAP R3, what we call it as ECC 6.0 enhancement pack 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 has been mentioned here, but there is a sixth enhancement pack which was released into the market for the customers, and we are actually upgrading our system to enhancement pack 6 right now. So, and then like this they have, that's how the SAP was evaluated, right? So now, as you could see here, until ECC 6.0, SAP has modified so many things, like SAP R3 460, then SAP R3 4.7, SAP after 4, since 4.7 they started this enterprise version. Means everything is component. So it means if you want ECC is just a component, server component. If you want SRM, it's just another server component. If you want SCM, supply chain management, another component of SAP. So this component object or component version has been made from SAP version 4.7 onwards. Even after 4.7 release also, year after release, SAP introduced these new components. ECC is 5.0, 6.0. So after 6.0, SAP said no more version